y'all? I am your girl Kandi, and I got my boy Juan. So listen, Jamie was good for a real opinion about something.
Well, one of the things I saw, and so odd part is, that most people don't know this, but I don't follow blogs and stuff.
Oh yeah, so Don Juan says that he doesn't follow blogs because he says it's not good for his energy.
Doesn't do good for my energy. I have like one blog just because I'm friends with them, the Jasmine brand.
Oh, okay.
That I follow Jasmine because we're friends and blah, blah, blah. But I don't use...
Stop everything. You won't believe what just unfolded outside the Atlanta courtroom. Todd and Kandi's child collapses after discovering a truth no one saw coming. The courtroom was packed, cameras flashing, reporters shouting for answers. But the moment Don Juan's shocking video confession played, the entire room froze. Todd and Kandi's eyes widened in disbelief, hearts racing as their child's world shattered in front of everyone. The words hit like a bomb. Don Juan, not Todd, is the real father. At first, the child sat silently, processing every syllable, every revelation. Then, without warning, the emotional dam broke. The child slammed into the bench, covering their face, tears streaming uncontrollably. Gasps echoed around the courtroom. Todd's face twisted in horror, disbelief washing over him. Kandi's hands trembled, trying to comfort both Todd and their child, but even she couldn't hold back the shock. Todd stumbled out of the courtroom, his legs weak, his chest heavy with anguish and fury. He sank onto a bench outside, burying his face in his hands, the weight of betrayal and heartbreak crashing down. The child's cries pierced the air, blending with whispers of shock from onlookers. How could this happen? Todd's child. Don Juan's son. Social media exploded. Clips of the collapse went viral instantly. Hashtags trended. Hashtag Todd Kandi Truth. Hashtag Don Juan Confession. Hashtag Courtroom Shock. Fans, celebrities, and gossip pages couldn't stop talking about the scene. Every detail, the trembling hands, the broken sobs, the devastated parents, was dissected, replayed, and shared, sending shockwaves through the internet. This wasn't just courtroom drama, it was a tragic, emotional earthquake. Todd, Kandi, and their child forever changed in a single, unforgettable moment. Todd and Kandi's family had been exposed, stripped bare before the world, and the courtroom bench had become a stage for a tragedy of celebrity proportions. Each sob, each tear, each quivering breath told a story that words alone could not capture. Social media hashtags multiplied, commentary flooded in, and the world couldn't look away. The moment, frozen in time, became the ultimate viral sensation. Tragic, intense, and emotionally devastating, a story that would haunt viewers for days to come. The child eventually leaned into Kandi, Todd still distant, both trying to grasp reality, while the whispers, flashes, and viral chaos carried on around them. Courtroom drama had spilled into real life, creating a scandal that was more than gossip. It was a raw, shocking, emotional event that had every viewer on the edge of their seat, hearts pounding, wondering how a family could be torn apart in a single revelation. The drama outside the Atlanta courtroom didn't end when Todd and Kandi's child collapsed. In fact, what happened next turned the scandal into a full-blown viral catastrophe. As the courtroom doors swung open, the sobbing child clung desperately to Kandi, trembling, unable to comprehend the reality of Don Juan being their biological father. Todd lingered behind, hands pressed to his face, eyes bloodshot and glassy, the weight of betrayal crushing him like never before. Reporters lunged forward, microphones thrust out, but the family's pain was raw, untouchable, a tragedy no one could mitigate. Cameras captured every moment, the child shaking, the tears streaking down Kandi's face, Todd collapsing onto a nearby bench, his head buried in his hands. Whispers erupted immediately. This can't be real. Todd's child. Don Juan's. The courtroom's tension spilling into the streets, bouncing off buildings, turning Atlanta into a frenzy. Social media lit up within seconds, clips going viral as millions watched the heart-wrenching collapse and Todd's devastated reaction. Fans typed frantic messages, speculating, theorizing, reacting to the emotional storm unfolding live before the world. Hashtag Todd Kandi Truth, hashtag Don Juan Confession, hashtag Courtroom Shock exploded across timelines, trending within minutes. Inside, the courtroom attempted to regain composure, but the air remained thick with disbelief. Lawyers whispered behind their hands, judges exchanged worried glances, and even security officers shook their heads. Everyone knew this was more than a revelation. It was an emotional earthquake, tearing through a family and leaving spectators helplessly glued to every second. Todd's voice, breaking with emotion, muttered under his breath, How could this happen?" while Kandi held the child, whispering comfort she didn't even feel herself. The child's trembling, the quiet sobs, the raw shock of realizing their life had just been upended created a scene that was impossible to ignore. Outside, the press had assembled in a frenzy. Reporters shouted questions, cameras swiveled, drones hovered, and the public gawked. But no one dared approach too closely. The raw emotion in Todd, Kandi, and their child was magnetic, consuming, tragic. Every step, every breath was a spectacle of heartbreak. The child sat on the bench, knees drawn to chest, crying quietly while Todd paced nearby, muttering fragments of disbelief, rage, and sorrow. Kandi's hand rested on the child's back, her own tears falling freely, the sound of her heartache echoing over the chaotic crowd. Social media analysis exploded. Every angle, every sob, every glance was dissected and replayed endlessly. Fans argued, speculated, cried, and debated the family's future. The revelation of Don Juan as the biological father wasn't just shocking, it was seismic, splitting opinions, igniting controversy, and creating waves of emotional engagement that no trending topic could rival. YouTube clips, TikTok rewinds, Instagram stories, every format was flooded with the heart-wrenching footage. News outlets couldn't resist. The story dominated their coverage. The courtroom footage, now coupled with the family's reaction outside, became an instant cultural phenomenon, a viral saga of betrayal, heartbreak, and scandal. Meanwhile, Todd remained outside, shaking, fists clenched, eyes red from unshed tears. He looked at his child, trying to find a bridge to understand, to console, but the raw shock was evident. Nothing could fix this. Kandi's voice trembled as she tried to calm the child, whispering, "We're okay, we'll get through this," yet every word was soaked with grief and uncertainty. Their pain was what just unfolded outside the Atlanta courtroom has pushed the Todd and Kandi saga into uncharted territory, a maelstrom of heartbreak, scandal, and explosive emotion that the world cannot ignore. As the family attempted to exit the courthouse, the weight of Don Juan's confession hung over them like a dark storm. Todd, his jaw tight, eyes glazed with disbelief, moved slowly toward the waiting bench outside. Kandi's hands shook as she tried to guide their child, whose sobs continued to echo, a haunting soundtrack to a revelation that no one could have prepared for. Cameras fired from every angle, flashes blinding, microphones thrust forward, yet the raw emotion of the family remained untouchable, unfiltered, unforgettable. The child, still trembling from the shock, clung to Kandi, alternating between shaking convulsively and covering their face in despair. Every step, every breath, every quiet sob was magnified by the press, by the microphones, by the world watching live. Todd sank onto the bench, shoulders slumped, the entire weight of betrayal pressing down on him. His hands covered his face, muttering under his breath, fragments of anger, disbelief, and sorrow. How could this happen? Kandi knelt beside their child, whispering words of comfort, her voice breaking, her own tears falling freely. The scene was raw, intimate, and utterly devastating. The courtroom's chaos had spilled into the streets. Reporters shouted, cameras swiveled, and the murmurs of the crowd grew into a roar. Todd's child. Don Juan's. Every whisper, every gasp, every camera angle became a viral moment, dissected endlessly across social media. Within minutes, hashtags erupted, hashtag Todd Kandi Truth, hashtag Don Juan Confession, hashtag Courtroom Shock. Clips of the collapse, Todd's stunned expression, Kandi's trembling hands, and the child's tear-streaked face flooded timelines. Millions watched, hearts breaking in sync with the family's grief. Inside the courthouse, lawyers scrambled, the judge demanded silence, and security tried to maintain order, but the emotional hurricane couldn't be contained. Todd, Kandi, and their child had become the epicenter of a scandal that combined celebrity, heartbreak, and unimaginable betrayal. Every sob, every glance, every quiver in their hands told a story no words could fully capture. The press knew they had witnessed history, an emotional explosion that would dominate headlines, feeds, and gossip pages for weeks to come. Outside, Todd's anger and grief coalesced into a visible storm. His fists clenched, jaw tight, eyes reddened, every exhale heavy with the weight of betrayal. Kandi's voice trembled as she tried to reassure the child, her hands stroking their back, yet every gesture was soaked in despair. The child, unable to process the truth fully, wept openly, the reality of Don Juan as their father crashing down like a tidal wave. Onlookers whispered, pointing, recording, sharing, and speculating. Social media erupted as fans, celebrities, and gossip pages dissected every reaction, every tear, every trembling step. The intensity of the scene became almost unbearable. Todd's pacing grew frantic, Kandi's attempts to soothe the child became more desperate, and the child's cries intensified, a living embodiment of heartbreak. Reporters' questions rang in the air, some ignored, some answered with quiet sobs, each moment dripping with viral potential. The courtroom footage alone had shocked the world, but the raw, outside emotional collapse created a storm that would ripple across every platform. As minutes stretched, Todd leaned back on the bench, eyes closed, shaking. Kandi held the child tightly, murmuring words that were meant to console, but barely reached through the fog of grief. Flashbulbs ignited repeatedly, capturing every angle of trauma, every line of anguish. The child's collapse had transformed from a personal tragedy into a global spectacle, the very definition of viral drama. Every frame, every angle, every whispered name circulated endlessly. The revelation tore through the family's life like a hurricane. Todd, Kandi, and their child had been exposed, stripped bare, left raw and vulnerable in front of millions. Social media trends exploded, YouTube clips racked up views by the thousands, and every news outlet that could cover the story did so immediately. Conversations erupted everywhere, theories, sympathies, outrage, disbelief. Yet nothing could match the intensity of the moment as it unfolded live, heartbreaking, scandalous, and impossible to ignore. Eventually, the family began to move. Todd remained a few steps behind, still staggering under the weight of disbelief. Kandi guided the child, who now leaned heavily on her, exhausted and overwhelmed. The cameras followed, the flashes continued, the whispers persisted, and the world continued to watch, unable to look away. The courtroom had released the initial shock, but the aftermath, the raw, unfiltered emotional collapse, was now fully viral, seared into viewers' minds as a tragedy that combined heartbreak, betrayal, and celebrity scandal into a single explosive moment. Even as the family disappeared from the immediate scene, the story continued to grow. Social media dissected every reaction, every tear, every movement. Analysts, gossip accounts, and fans replayed the footage endlessly. Todd's silent despair, Kandi's trembling voice, and the child's uncontrollable sobs became an emblem of a scandal so intense, so emotionally charged, that the story could never be forgotten. The world had witnessed a family's life shattered in seconds, a courtroom revelation turned global spectacle, a viral emotional earthquake that would dominate discussions, news feeds, and gossip circles indefinitely. Every moment of this disaster screamed tragedy. Every frame, every sob, every tremor of disbelief became a shared experience for millions. Todd and Kandi's child had collapsed physically and emotionally, and the aftermath left them raw, exposed, and at the center of a worldwide storm. Flashbulbs, social media, and endless commentary ensured that no one could ignore the heartbreak, betrayal, and shocking revelation. By the end, Todd, Kandi, and their child had become the symbol of an unforgettable scandal, a viral story etched into the hearts and minds of everyone who witnessed it. Every sob, every trembling hand, every tear-streaked face was immortalized, a tragedy of immense proportions, leaving viewers shocked, horrified, and emotionally shattered. The courtroom drama had exploded into real life, creating a viral sensation that no one could escape, a saga of heartbreak, betrayal, and intense emotion that would dominate social feeds for days, weeks, and possibly months. What just happened outside the Atlanta courtroom is unlike anything you've ever seen. Todd and Kandi's child collapsing after learning the shocking truth about Juan has set the internet on fire, and the world can't look away. Millions of viewers are replaying every heartbreaking second. The trembling child, Todd's stunned silence, Kandi's desperate attempts to console, and the raw, unfiltered emotion that turned a courtroom revelation into a global scandal. This isn't just news, it's a viral earthquake, shaking the celebrity world to its core. Every angle, every tear, every whisper has gone viral. Clips are being shared across every platform, hashtags trending within minutes, hashtag Todd Kandi Truth, hashtag Juan Confession, hashtag Courtroom Shock. Fans, gossip pages, and celebrities are dissecting the family's reaction endlessly. Social media is flooded with disbelief, sympathy, and outrage. People are asking, how could a secret this big stay hidden for so long? How did Juan's confession shatter a family in seconds? This story isn't slowing down. Every replay, every comment, every share fuels the viral storm. Todd's anguish, Kandi's trembling voice, the child's sobs, they are etched into the minds of millions worldwide. The courtroom drama has exploded into a real-life tragedy, one that fans can't stop talking about, speculating about, and sharing. You need to see it to believe it. Every second of this emotional meltdown is packed with heartbreak, betrayal, and shock. If you thought celebrity drama couldn't get any more intense, think again. This is the moment that proves some truths are so devastating, they leave the world speechless. Don't scroll past this. Watch, share, and join the conversation because this revelation is rewriting everything. Todd, Kandi, and their child's lives will never be the same, and neither will your view of celebrity scandal. The truth is out, the shock is real, and the world is watching.